only do we mine Bitcoin, but we mine things like Kaspa.
If you're already mining Bitcoins, why did you just purchase more Bitcoins?
Oh, wow. Okay. Kaspa is
It's a proof of work coin.
Got
It's
it.
one of the up and coming coins.
Got it.
Yeah, people ask us, well, why are you mining Kaspa? What the hell is that? You're a Bitcoin miner. Well,
Internet speed crypto. Internet speed proof of work. So you keep the same ethos, the same principles of Bitcoin in the Nakamoto system, proof of work, blocks, transactions, all the things you're familiar with. And
Okay, well then maybe Bitcoin isn't digital currency at all.
Hello everyone, welcome again to the channel. Thank you so much for watching my videos and welcome in today's episode. Now before we go ahead, make sure to hit the like, make sure to subscribe to this channel. It really helps us spread the word about Kaspa to as many people as possible. So today we have a very interesting topic to discuss. Something about the Kaspa founder Yonatan Sompolinsky and something about the Kaspa community in general. So back in the days, I think not long ago, we had this Binance competition, the Binance blockchain competition. And we had Yonatan Sompolinsky, who is the Kaspa founder, who won in a category which is called the Independent Researcher. So this award was supposed to be given to Yonatan Sompolinsky, who is the winner of that category. But Yonatan decided to write a very good letter to Binance. And I think this is something that we have to discuss. And I'm just going to point out some similarities between Yonatan Sompolinsky and some important people in history that have done the same thing. This is going to be really interesting. So I always compare Bitcoin and Kaspa to alternating current and direct current. And I think a lot of people in the Kaspa community share this perspective. When you think about direct current, when you think about alternating current, there's big similarities between Bitcoin and Kaspa when they are compared to alternating current and direct current. And when I start comparing these two cryptocurrencies, I think of Bitcoin as direct current, which was invented by Thomas Edison. And I also think of Kaspa as alternating current. And I think there's a big similarity between what Yonatan Sompolinsky just did with his letter. You can call it a letter, you can call it an email, you can call it a tweet towards Binance, because we see that in history, also Nikola Tesla in 1912, he was going to be awarded a Nobel Prize, but this Nobel Prize was supposed to be shared by Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison. So the Nobel Foundation was planning to give these two people a Nobel Prize, but once Nikola Tesla realized that he's going to be awarded this Nobel Prize that he's going to share with his biggest competitor, who is Thomas Edison, he decided to decline it. And I'm not trying to say that Yonatan Sompolinsky has decided to decline this Binance award because of any other competitor, but I think there's a lot of big similarities between Yonatan Sompolinsky and what Nikola Tesla did back in 1912. So when you look at what is the superior technology between direct current and alternating current, at that time, alternating current was the best and superior technology. But at the same time, the Nobel Foundation wanted to award Nikola Tesla a Nobel Prize, but at the same time, they wanted Nikola Tesla with his superior alternating current. They wanted him to share a stage or to share this Nobel Prize with Thomas Edison. Now, these were two big rivals, because we can see that the aim of Nikola Tesla was to provide free electricity. So the aim of Nikola Tesla, when you look at everything that he was trying to invent, was trying to make life better. He was trying to give the world free electricity. He wanted wireless communications. He wanted wireless transfer of electricity. He believed the earth to be the biggest conductor. He did not believe in sticking poles every 5 meters in order to transmit electricity. He did not believe in the idea of Thomas Edison of having to stick poles with wires in order to transmit energy from one place to another, because it was not sustainable, it was not efficient, and it could not power the world as he thought during that time. Because he was able to see in the future that electricity is going to be in huge demand. And what Thomas Edison with his direct current was trying to provide could not meet the needs that were going to happen. So we can see the same thing happening between Bitcoin and Kaspa. Of course, we can say that Bitcoin did a great job of laying out a foundation, just as direct current did, because if there was no foundation, even Nikola Tesla could have struggled in order to invent his alternating current. He could not have a point of reference when it comes to inventing his own inventions. But due to the availability of direct current, he could see the problems that made direct current really, really slow. That's why he was able to invent alternating current. So Bitcoin laid out the foundation, but it was not a complete product. Alternating current happened, and we can see most of Nikola Tesla's inventions. At the time, he looked crazy. People mocked him. People were making fun of him. At that time, most people perceived Nikola Tesla as someone that was maybe crazy because of the things that he was trying to do. So we can see one of his biggest experiments, which was the Wardenclyffe Tower, which was intended to be the first global wireless power and communication system. So although unfinished, the intention of this experiment was to transmit electricity wirelessly across the earth. And this is something that Thomas Edison and J.P. Morgan did not like, because they knew exactly that if Nikola Tesla succeeds at giving the world free electricity, they would lose their market. They were the ones that controlled the infrastructure. They controlled a lot of industries. So having free energy, people would start to become independent, and they would have started to stop relying on the infrastructure that was controlled by these big players. So if these people could have been able to access free electricity, free energy, they would have stopped relying on these big players who were Thomas Edison and J.P. Morgan and other big people that controlled a huge percentage of these infrastructure and benefited highly on direct current. So the aim of Nikola Tesla was to give the world free electricity. And you can see all the inventions that are happening right now. The microwaves, the X-rays, MRIs, CT scans, wireless communications, and everything. All of these were the inventions or the ideas of Nikola Tesla. At that time, Nikola Tesla looked as someone that was absolutely crazy. You would have called him crazy if you lived during his time. But now we are seeing electric cars, something that he was trying to work on. You are seeing wireless communications, you are seeing X-rays, you are seeing all these inventions happen because he saw the future and he realized that direct current was not the way to go. The same thing is happening when it comes to cryptocurrencies. So what Kaspa is trying to do is trying to redefine and provide a standard for a good cryptocurrency. If you want to say that this cryptocurrency is good, you have to reference Kaspa because it is proof of work. It follows the same Bitcoin fundamentals, and at the same time, it solves most of the things that you can find Bitcoin cannot solve. So Kaspa is an improved Bitcoin, the same way that alternating current was an improved version of direct current. Now, this is causing a lot of tension between the Kaspa community and the Bitcoin community, but at the same time, people will migrate from a weak technology and they are going to all move towards the more superior technology. Just like how the world moved from direct current to alternating current. Nobody forced anybody to transition from direct current to alternating current. And at the time, Thomas Edison and J.P. Morgan and his fellow, camp, they were trying to make fun, to make threats, to show how alternating current is very dangerous. And in one of the cases, they tried to use alternating current to electrocute animals to show how dangerous alternating current is. And this was to create fear to most of the people that this technology that you call very advanced, this technology that you are trying to get interested in, this technology that you think is going to save the world, they were trying to show people how alternating current was dangerous. But when you look at the current world right now, everything that Nikola Tesla invented, all of his patents, every idea that he had put into work, you can see that every idea, every invention of Nikola Tesla is currently being put into work right now. We can see his inventions everywhere. You go to the hospital, we have CT scans, you have MRIs, you have microwaves in homes, you have wireless communications. You can now send messages, you can send images wirelessly. You don't need wires in order to do that like back in the days. We can even send signals to the outside world, to Mars. We can send and receive signals. This is something that Nikola Tesla was working on back in the days. He sounded crazy after this wooden cliff tower experiment. People thought that Nikola Tesla was crazy. J.P. Morgan, who was funding this experiment, I think he thought that I'm just wasting my money on Nikola Tesla. Like, what kind of thing is he trying to invent? But only if he had known what Nikola Tesla had in his mind, I think he would have increased the funding. But most of the people always don't see these types of technology once they're still young. Most people want to get involved after they see that everybody is currently using this technology, because at that time there is minimal risk. But once the project is still in its early phase, just like Kaspa, there is a lot of risk, and most people cannot take that risk. So when you look at this letter that was written to Binance, this is one of the main topics that I wanted to address in this video. So when you look at this letter that was written by Yonatan Sompolinsky to Binance, I think it is one of the most impactful tweet or letter or email that I've read for the past a few years. So this is something that has been received by a lot of people with a lot of appreciation, because I think Yonatan Sompolinsky spoke out for the entire crypto industry. The impressions that this tweet has, it has 1.8 million impressions. So when you look at the biggest Kaspa account, it has 240 something K followers. But when you look at this letter that was written to Binance declining the award that was provided to him, it has 1.8 million impressions. That means that this letter not only touched the Kaspa community, it was a message to stand up for crypto. Yonatan Sompolinsky not only spoke for Kaspa, he spoke for the entire industry, because what currently is being done by Binance, they came out and said, if your project has merit, Binance will list it. But at the same time, they want 3%, just think of it, 3% of the maximum supply of Kaspa. And they know exactly that Kaspa is a proof of work that was fairly launched. It had no pre-mines. It had no pre-mines, it had no VCs, it had no all those kinds of funny things that you find in most of the blockchains. And at the same time, Binance has the confidence to go out and tell Kaspa people that they want 3% of the maximum supply, which is equivalent to more than 41 million US dollars at the current price. Now imagine if Kaspa reaches $1, $2, $3, $4, $5. If you think about it, they are playing a very, very unfair game, and they are trying to create classes when it comes to the crypto industry. Now it was something important for Yonatan Sompolinsky to address what Binance is currently doing. Whether they get offended or whether they take it as a big wake-up call and list Kaspa, I think the Kaspa community have already used all the methods that you can respectfully use in order to get listed on Binance. We've already tried to spam every post that they post in order to tell them and to show them how superior, how unique Kaspa is. I think Kaspa has done all the respectful measures in order to get Binance's attention. And I want to congratulate the Kaspa community, because without the Kaspa community voting for Yonatan Sompolinsky to win this award, this letter could have been ignored. If Yonatan Sompolinsky wasn't the winner in this category as the best independent researcher, I think they wouldn't even give attention to what he wrote in this letter. But because they have to award the winner, and the winner is now rejecting their award, It doesn't feel right receiving an award as the best independent researcher when the same people that are giving you an award, they haven't listed the best innovative cryptocurrency. Like, you claim to be advocates for innovation, but when it comes to listing these innovative projects, you ignore these innovative projects, and at the same time you list random meme coins every single day. You can see what happened with Trump meme coin. It got listed within 24 hours. You saw what happened with Melania coin. It got listed within 24 hours. So what is preventing Binance from listing Kaspa, which is internet speed Bitcoin, 10 blocks per second? That is still proof of work, having the same fundamentals of Bitcoin. So there's no actual reason that these people can provide. So what this really means is that Binance doesn't really care about innovation. What they care right now is making the most money out of these projects. And they've been consistently denying that they have a good listing procedure, that they don't require any fees, listing is free and blah, blah, blah. But after demanding 3% of the maximum supply from Kaspa, that proves that everything they say is hypocrisy. They don't mean exactly what they say. And I really appreciate what Yonatan Sompolinsky decided to do, because there was no better way to do it like how Yonatan Sompolinsky decided to do. And big thanks to the Kaspa community that were able to make this happen, because they decided to put one of the Kaspa core team members at the top stage, and this Kaspa founder decided to give a very good slap to Binance, because this, as you can see, everybody is cheering on this email because everybody felt the same when it comes to Binance. It seems like they've been oppressing a lot of people, not listing good projects, always listing meme coins and scam projects, and at the same time they claim to be supporters of innovation. And I completely understand this decision, because even in history, there's some people that declined big awards. I talked about Nikola Tesla back in 1912, who decided to refuse getting involved in an award which he was going to share with his rival Thomas Edison. At the same time, you have somebody like Jean-Paul Sartre, who also rejected a big award. And the reason of him rejecting this award is because he believed that awards transform individuals into institutions, and he did not want to be transformed or symbolically separated from his personal and political independence. And because this person did not want to be influenced, he wanted total sovereignty, he wanted autonomy, he decided to decline this award, just like how Yonatan Sompolinsky decided to reject an award from Binance. Once you receive this award, you become institutionalized. Oh, the Kaspa founder received an award from Binance. But another reason why Jean-Paul Sartre decided to decline this Nobel Prize in 1964 is because he was consistent with his lifelong stance. He had previously rejected other honors, and showing his commitment to remaining an independent intellectual voice free from institutional influence. He did not want any type of influence from any type of institution. And I think this is what exactly Yonatan Sompolinsky did. He doesn't want any institutional association, which is, when it comes to the marketing of Kaspa, or when it comes to how most people perceive crypto marketing, it might be something that might hurt Kaspa for a short period of time. But when it comes to standing up for the true values of Kaspa and the true values of what a true cryptocurrency should represent, I think there was no better way of doing it like what Yonatan Sompolinsky did. Every single word that he wrote in this letter has a lot of meaning. When you read his tweet, there's no word that was wasted. Everything means or carries a lot of meaning. So he said, thanks for including me in the top 100 blockchain people list. Appreciate the signal. I must decline the Dubai invite though. I do not wish to disrespect, but many of the award voters are avid Caspians who voted for my Kaspa status at least as much as for my research. Let them win or count me out. Crypto has turned from a euphoric cypherpunk project to a house-friendly casino. So I tweeted and said, once you hear someone start with, "I mean no disrespect," know that something that is going to say next is always 100% disrespectful. But at least Yonatan Sompolinsky decided to put it in a very, very respectable way. So he continues to say that crypto has turned from a euphoric cypherpunk project to a house-friendly casino. You may not be the culprit, but as a top player, you hold a lion's share of the responsibility to correct this. And the October crash your USDE Oracle glitch helped it trigger adds to what needs to be addressed. So there's a good team working on this Oracle research, and I believe this is what he's trying to say. There are three classes of crypto: commercial crypto, casino crypto, and cypherpunk crypto. Binance should hold a privilege policy for the latter. Binance should hold a privilege policy for the latter. Now, when you look at what he's trying to say, it is really true, because most of the time these people demand, let's say 1%, 2% of the total maximum supply. Now, this type of demands don't apply for cypherpunk crypto. They don't apply for cryptocurrencies like Kaspa that had no pre-mines, that were fairly launched with no pre-mines and everything. You are trying to include this cypherpunk project, which is Kaspa, which had no pre-mines, which was fairly launched, in the same category with most of these meme coins that have a lot of coins to offer. If somebody creates a meme coin and decides to offer Binance 15%, because they did not use any type of energy, because those coins were created out of thin air, it is easy for someone to allocate, let's say 10%, 15%, 3% to Binance. But when it comes to a cryptocurrency that people have to mine in order to get these coins, you cannot tell people that, give me 3%. That is not something you can even be asking for. It goes against the principles of crypto. You cannot go into the Bitcoin community and say, because you want to get listed, I need, let's say 1 or 2% or 3%. That 1 or 2, 3% is a lot of energy. People used a lot of energy, they used a lot of resources in order to mine those coins. They were not printed out of thin air like most of other cryptocurrencies. This is what he is actually trying to mean. When Binance lists a green frog 3 weeks post its launch but skips a fairly launched Nakamoto consensus 100 millisecond upgrade all-time high top 20, the only non-Bitcoin marathon mined project, this is not merely Binance rational calculating, it is also Binance molding the market in a way that is alas misaligned with the roots of the movement. You may feel that Kaspa's sovereign money thesis is boring, that Bitcoin is already money, and that implementing an internet speed Bitcoin is useless. Fine, wrong but fine. But what's the thesis for the green frog? Money is a classic chicken and egg product. It's a scam up until one moment before tipping point. Most of the value comes from the value that others place in it. Considering your resources and influence, I think it is safe to say that you can serve as both the egg and the chicken and make it worth your while to push sound attempts towards tipping point. So he also tagged CZ and said, CZ Binance tweeted recently that strong projects will be listed, but Binance is part of what defines strong. It bears responsibility for the market's compass and impulse and definition of strong. It is not a read-only entity. Binance listing fees are legit. They are just unfit for category cypherpunk. Kaspa devs and early supporters fairly mined less than half what Satoshi and Hals mined. We don't have 20% ZEC style founders rewarded or protocol enforced dev fund. This is not a jab at ZEC and the wonderful Zuko, who was crashing in my car on late Thursday back in the low ZEC market cap days. If somebody deserves to win, it is Zuko, but assuming Binance is not taking a maxi bet, it should revisit its relationship with hardcore crypto. Now, the fact that he is also trying to describe Zcash, because we know that Zcash is encrypted Bitcoin. And you can see that Yonatan Sompolinsky, who is the founder of Kaspa, and Zuko, who is also one of the founders of Zcash, they have a good relationship. One of them opted to create internet speed Bitcoin, and another person decided to create encrypted Bitcoin. That means Bitcoin with privacy. We know that when it comes to blockchain, all the transaction balances, the sender, the receiver, everything is public. Everybody can see who sent what amount from one place or from one address to another. So these people realized that in the near future, because people value privacy, there's going to be a lot of need for privacy, especially during these times when everybody, the governments want to track everything. So right now you're seeing Zcash really pump, and people are thinking, okay, maybe I should have bought Zcash instead of Kaspa. So, but when you think about the creation of Zcash, it started back in 2013. Then Zcash was launched in 2016. So during all that period from 2016, these people have been creating, they have been building. And back in 2020, you saw what happened with these privacy coins. They were delisted from these major exchanges, and that caused them to drop. So for the people that held through all that period, they are starting to see at least a little bit of light. They are now starting to get a little bit rewarded. Now, somebody that has been into Kaspa, let's say since 2022, is thinking that he made the wrong bet going into Kaspa, and he or she is starting to think that maybe they should have placed all their money into Zcash. But you can't see the time, the effort, the pain that all these people that were holding Zcash went through until now. And we're going to see Zcash succeed because right now there's a lot of demand for privacy. The governments want to track everything, and because they know exactly that decentralized systems are a way in order to escape this current monetary policy, they are trying to use the same old tricks that they used in the traditional finance systems. They're trying to bring it back to the cryptocurrency space. Now, that is why people are now realizing, okay, we need privacy. Of course, we want blockchain technology. Of course, we need Bitcoin-like transactions, but at the same time, we also need privacy. And once they look at the overall crypto market, that's why they're going for a Zcash. But people are forgetting that there is something that most people are not paying attention to. Sovereignty. You need sovereignty. And that sovereignty, I think Kaspa is going to be the king of sovereign money. And once this narrative clicks in people's heads, that's where you're going to see the movement that Kaspa is going to be showing. Right now, Kaspa is dormant. People are calling Kaspa dead and everything. But once people understand, the same way as privacy was not a big deal back in the days, Zcash was not moving, and people counted off Zcash, now everybody is putting money into Zcash. The same thing is going to happen when it comes to Kaspa. So I was trying to explain the relationship between Yonatan Sompolinsky and Zuko, who is also the founder of Zcash. Someone decided to create encrypted Bitcoin. Another person decided to create internet speed Bitcoin. And we are going to see who is going to have the most success. So he also finished by saying, we are here through bull and bear, ICO, NFTs, XYZs, and we are source of confidence that restores faith. Capital inflow post-meme included all centralized exchanges induced crashes. Please fix this. Thanks again. Hashtag, and he also, as he said, Michael Satan. So Exhibit A, Binance Innovation Zone. Exhibit B, 10 blocks per second, Nakamoto consensus. Now, when you look at the picture that he attached in this tweet, it is really interesting because he talked about Binance saying that they list projects with merit, but at the same time, you have this frog, which is Pepe, I think, listed on Binance, while you have a 10 blocks per second that is not yet listed on Binance. So this is like exposing Binance on a big stage. Like, I don't know what they're going to say because this tweet has a lot of impressions. I think a lot of people saw this tweet and a lot of people resonate with what Yonatan Sompolinsky said. And I'm curious to see what is going to be the response from Binance, because until right now, while I'm recording this video, we haven't seen anybody come out of Binance and give an update or respond to this message. So maybe they don't have anything to say. Maybe they've been exposed. Maybe they're trying to find ways to list Kaspa, because if Coinbase decides to use this advantage and front runs Binance and lists Kaspa, I think a lot of credit is going to go to Coinbase. But it seems like Coinbase, Binance, I don't know what to say. These centralized exchanges look like the same. Coinbase is waiting, Binance is waiting, but whoever lists Kaspa first is going to get a lot of credit. And I don't think these people really realize the true power of cryptocurrencies like Kaspa. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like, make sure to subscribe, and see you in the next episode.